Objection!
The background leading up to the incident has been laid bare. There's just one question remaining, Mr. Wright. Who killed the victim? There are only two possible suspects right now. Maya Fey, and I'm sad to say, you, Mr. Godot. Ooh. Well, Wright, if you're the real deal, then finish this thing once and for all. Show us beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can finish this on your own. No, Nick! Please don't! Maya, I heard the whole thing from my sister in the medical office. That's why I have to protect Mr. Godot. I can't do it. I can't testify against him. After all, he's the man who put his life on the line to protect Mia. And me too. Maya, I know that. Nick. But even so, it doesn't absolve him of his crime. Please, Maya, testify. Miss Fey, your testimony, please. This is the final testimony. Don't bother trying to hide anything, because I'll know. I want to hear the truth from your own lips. I understand. I'm sure you're right. I'm ready now, Nick. All right, young lady, tell us about the moments before you lost consciousness. What exactly happened at the time of the murder? Just before it happened, I think I saw some red lights, 3 of them. I thought I'd ask for help, but just then I was splattered with blood. She wasn't dead, though, and she struck back at the enemy behind her. Suddenly the red lights went out and the whole area was dark. Just at that moment, there was a horrible scream. Right after that, Talia collapsed and I lost consciousness. These red lights. I thought you said you don't remember seeing them. I'm sorry. I thought I saw them. But then they disappeared all of a sudden. Things break, Trite. Even the best of theories. Who was it that stabbed Misty Fey? It looks like you still can't prove it. Maya's telling the truth this time, I know it. The rest is up to me. Proceed with your final cross-examination. Let's do this. Lights shining in the dark. I don't think you could make a mistake about that. Yeah, you're right. I think I saw them, but I can't say for certain. And I can't tell for sure they were from Mr. Godot's mask either. I don't get the feeling she's covering for him anymore. But just after that, you turned towards the lights and called for help. Isn't that because you thought the lights were coming from Mr. Godot's mask? Yeah, I guess so. Maybe that's what I was thinking at the time, but I can't remember after all. There was a person I couldn't identify in front of me. Maya's life was in terrible danger at the time. There's no way she can remember the details of the scene perfectly. Alright then, let's go on with the testimony. What did you do when you saw the red lights? That blood, was it Dahlia Hawthorne's blood? I think so, probably. Just at that moment, I heard a soft scream that screamed to be close by. That seemed to be close by, not screamed to be close by. It was a woman's voice. So that was when the killer stabbed the victim from behind with a murder weapon. Is that right? Without a doubt, Maya was in the middle of a really dangerous situation. Anyway, the victim was stabbed by a murder weapon. What happened after that? She struck back? How do you know that? Well, you're right, I didn't see it exactly, but I could tell by the sounds of their breathing and the movement, and also the smell of blood. You've witnessed more horror than any young lady should have ever have to in one life. So then what did you do at that point? I couldn't move. I could just barely make out their shadows moving in the dark, but... So it's Godot's blood on the dagger. He got cut. I had no idea what to do. Could you still see the red lights you mentioned earlier? Yes, I think so, but... Suddenly the red lights went out and the whole area was dark. They went out? Yes, suddenly I couldn't see them at all. What could it mean? If the red lights were coming from Godot's mask, and they went out right in the middle of a fight, maybe the mask was damaged. Or maybe it was knocked off. Or maybe the batteries ran out. Right? Or maybe those little red pinhead-looking lights just stopped working. What could have really happened then? Just at the moment, there was a horrible scream. What do you mean by just at the moment? Do you mean the moment when the red lights went out? Yes, that's right. The scream that you heard then, was it Dahlia Hawthorne? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it was a man's voice. What? What? So then the scream came from the killer? That's got to be it. I think Dahlia Hawthorne must have taken the blade and attacked the killer with it. Then the killer let out a scream of pain, huh? After that, the killer stole the blade back and delivered the final blow, I guess. Well, Mr. Wright, seems to make sense to me. It sounds like a reasonable deduction, but still kind of wonder. I'm sorry to say this, but that interpretation would create an enormous contradiction. That makes sense. After all, my deductions are almost certainly never correct. Remember the testimony she gave before the killer let out a scream? Maya said she had already been splattered by the victim's blood. In other words, the blade and the staff had already been plunged into the victim. Is that right? She couldn't have struck back with a sword that was already stuck in her body. The weapon that caused the killer to let out a scream must have been something other than the staff. If you're so sure about that, then don't keep us waiting any longer, Trite. There's only one thing it could be that could have been used as a weapon here. If Dahlia Hawthorne had already been stabbed in the back with a staff, what could have been used to strike the killer? Naturally, the dagger the killer brought to the scene of the crime. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. This dagger was found at the crime scene, stuck into the pine tree. Yes, the detective found that this morning and brought it to me. Dahlia Hawthorne struck back at the killer with this, and she managed to wound him as well. Just because he let out a scream doesn't mean that he was wounded. For all we know, the blood of the dagger could have been from the victim. Have you forgotten that the blood has already been tested? Since we learned it wasn't the victim's blood, it must be the killer's blood. The killer must have a wound somewhere on his body. So you're saying the blood on this dagger belongs to the killer? Exactly. A DNA analysis of the blood would prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. And yes, Mr. Godot, it would prove that it's your blood. Nice theory, Trite. Order in the court. Is this the end? Have I done it? Even he won't be able to change the result of a scientific test. Let me ask you something, Trite. Let's just say that it turned out that I was the killer. Do you really think I would be stupid enough to leave evidence like that? What? Just think for a second. This dagger was found this morning by a detective and brought to me. There's already blood on it, correct? But even so, I was the one who brought this dagger here to the courtroom. Yes, what does that prove? Well, if I really were the killer, I could have washed the blade off, you didn't see the blood, and then planted another person's blood on it. It can't be. In any case, there's one thing I can guarantee, Trite. That blood, it doesn't belong to me. Not a chance. What? So you just admitted tampering with evidence? In any event, it seems to be established that the killer was wounded. Alright then, witness. Continue your testimony. Wait a minute! What's the problem? I know I probably shouldn't say this, but there's a big contradiction in Nick's explanation. Maya. This dagger... You said that it wounded that killer. That's right. But... If Mr. Godot had really been cut with the dagger, his clothes should be bloody or have a rip in them, right? Maya? Maybe he just changed his clothes? That'd solve the contradiction pretty easily. What are you talking about? It's not that simple at all. Remember back to the day of the murder. Everyone that was on the inner temple side got trapped there. Ah, that's right. And once the bridge was fixed and the police headed for the inner temple, Mr. Godot was already there waiting for them. Yeah, but if his mask was knocked off, he might have got hit in the face and it's under his mask. He never had a chance to change his clothes. Ugh. Well, maybe he brought a change of clothes with him, but no one could have predicted the lightning strike would shut down the bridge. Why would anyone have brought a change of clothes? Ugh. Did the judge just take smart pills during their last recess? Well then, maybe the killer took off his clothes before he committed the murder. That way he wouldn't get any blood on them. That's impossible, Trite. You know how cold it gets up there at night? After a few minutes with no clothes on, you'd be frozen solid. Ugh. So that's all you've got? I knew you weren't tough enough to finish this. Ugh. Right now, if Mia Fey were here, Mia Fey were here, she would have closed the book on this case already. If Mia Fey were here. So come on, Wright, can you do it or not? How about it, Mr. Wright? You've accused Mr. Godot of being the killer. Can you prove it? Have you got even one piece of evidence? The question isn't whether I can prove it or not. The fact is I have to prove it. That's the only choice I have. I was taught that it's one of the rules of being a lawyer. I can prove it. I'm going to bring your magnificent vengeance to fruition, just as you want. That's good. A fighter till the bitter end, right? Since there's just one piece of evidence that can prove your point, why don't we go for the unlimited penalty? You trying to pressure me, Mr. Godot? Because it doesn't matter to me. I've got the one piece of evidence I need. Give me a break. You've got nothing, Trite. So what do I do at a time like this? It's simple. I've got to think outside the box and approach it from a different angle. Right then, Mr. Wright, let's hear what you've got. There's one thing I've demonstrated in the previous cross-examinations. The killer was wounded. That was proven by the blood on the dagger. But we decided it was impossible for him to have hidden such a wound. If he had been cut by a dagger, there should have been a blood stain on his clothing. There's one place the killer could have hidden his wound. What did you say? Hidden? This is it. My last stand. I need to think this from a different angle. I don't need to think about why there was no bloodstains on his clothing. I need to show how he hid the wound. It's the end of the line, the final stop. Try it. Let's hear what you've got. Where's this location where you said the wound? Where's this location where you say that it would be behind his mask? Wouldn't I just... Am I supposed to just click his profile? Because that's the only thing I can think to do there. Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about, and frankly, I don't need to know. What I do know is that you'll never be half the lawyer she was. Isn't that right, Trite? What was that just now? Mia? It can't be. You're living on through him? Even as we speak, you're still hiding the wound. It's beneath your mask. During the fight, the red lights given off by the killer suddenly disappeared. Seconds later, the killer let out a scream. That's right, your mask went flying off your face. Mr. Godot, would you mind removing your mask? Do you have a dagger wound under there somewhere? Then I'd say this whole case is solved. Ugh. Naked killer, yep. Just now, I saw her spirit in you. I never liked you. 6 years ago, you helped the woman who put me to sleep by hiding her bottle of poison. And then, while I was sleeping, you let Mia die. He likes to put blame on everybody but the people who it should be on. But you didn't care. You just kept living your pathetic, happy-go-lucky life. You even had the nerve to follow in her footsteps as a lawyer. I could never forgive you. That's what I thought. Mr. Godot? But I was wrong about you. I knew it from the beginning. The truth is, the only person I could never find it in my heart to forgive was yourself. Was me. Yourself? I was the one that failed to protect Mia. Me and no one else. I tried to avert my eyes from the truth to escape from the harshness of the reality. I just couldn't face Mia's death head-on, so I ran. Hid behind a mask, I threw away my true name. I couldn't even deal with being a defense attorney anymore, so I quit. But you saved Maya. Yeah, that was my plan. Up until just now, anyway. What do you mean? Are you listening, Maya? If I had really wanted to save you, then there's one person that I should have gone and talked to right away. Who would that be? Are you talking about Nick? But I didn't do it. I tried to get the help of Iris and your mother. But I closed my eyes to the most important man involved. Do you know why? The real reason? No, why? I suppose I wasn't really interested in saving you at all. Huh? I think I was just trying to salvage what's left of my own broken soul. I was trying to make up for the fact that I couldn't save Mia, nothing more. That's why I let you walk right into a situation that I knew was dangerous. Forgive me. You're wrong. You put your own life on the line to save Maya. Was it really for Maya's sake, even if I'm not really sure? What do you mean by that? That night, in the darkness of the garden, when I saw her silhouette, a part of me must have known the truth. The truth that it wasn't really Dahlia Hawthorne standing there in front of me. It could have been Misty Faye or even that little girl, but I still picked up the blade, and it was like I was dreaming. That's a good point. I'm not exactly sure what was going on in my mind at that point. Was I really motivated by pure desire to protect Maya Faye? Or was it something else, revenge? Was it my hatred for a woman who had stolen everything from me 6 years earlier? Could it have been simply a desire for revenge? And now, I don't even know anything anymore. I did learn something today, however. I finally realized that I was the arrogant one. I was just chasing an illusion, a fantasy. The stupid fantasy of defeating you in the courtroom. You were the one who made me realize my folly. You never ran away from Mia's death. Instead, you picked up where she left off as a true defender of the people. In that one moment, I understood everything. Mr. Godot. I think you already know this, but if you don't, my name is Diego Armando. Mr. Armando, I believe in you. I know you were trying to save me. Thanks. Your wound, it's bleeding. Ha, did you forget already? In my world, the color red doesn't exist. These must be my tears. Tears? Ever since I woke up from my coma, I think I've been waiting for this very moment. But, Mr. Armando, you do well to remember this, Maya. The only time a lawyer can cry is when it's all over.